Welcome to another episode of Talk About Games. I'm Ryan.
Are we going to do that where I'm Ryan and I'm Mike?
We have to. Or should I be like, I'm Ryan and he's Mike? How do I do it?
Right.
What do we do?
It's
a crisis. Because we have to introduce, because if somebody doesn't know who you are, that's going to be a big problem.
Right. No, they know who we are. It would be like if we had another person on. I don't think we have to introduce ourselves anymore at this point. We can if you want to introduce
Welcome
ourselves.
to another episode of Talk About Games. Today we're going to talk about naming conventions. No,
you want to say our names, we can say our names.
Okay, but what if you're on episode, like, imagine for a second.
Okay.
Imagine a world where we don't tell people our names.
Okay.
And it's the first episode they ever watched.
Okay.
And then they don't know who we are.
So then we also tell our whole life story.
Well, it doesn't cost us anything to say our names. Okay.
Then I feel like what you have to do after that is be like, I'm Ryan and I do this and this and this, and I'm Mike and I do this and this and this. Because it's like, what does just saying your name mean to anybody who's never even heard who you are?
Well, yes. Okay. So you don't want to tell people your name.
I feel like it's fine to tell people our names, but I feel like you have to say more than that. If you're gonna do an introduction for like who you are, it's like just saying a name. I'm Bob. It's like, what does that mean? It's like you have to be like, I'm Bob and I work in accounting. Then you're like, oh, his name's Bob and he works in accounting.
And he works in accounting.
Now you know.
Something about Bob. I'm Ryan. I'm the guy who sits on the right.
Fuck.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm Mike. I'm the guy who sits on the left.
So I'll say, I'm Mike and I'm an asshole. And you can say, I'm Ryan and I'm
a dick.
A dick. That's good. And if you've never seen this before, I'm Mike Matei. I stream on Twitch. I play retro video games and I play modern video games too. Ryan, what do you do in life?
Well, this month I'm putting out a video game, and the game's called Dumpy and Bumpy, and I was really excited to work with Programmancer, who is the original developer of
I didn't
Dumpy
know that's who it was. I believe, isn't he doing a Castlevania fan?
He's doing a.
That was the worst way for me to say that.
He's doing a game called The Transylvanian Adventure of Simon Quest. And Simon Quest has nothing to do.
I'm sorry, it has nothing to do with Castlevania.
Nothing to do with Castlevania.
Nothing. Quest Simon has nothing.
I actually, that's the story we're sticking to.
Yeah.
I just watched him preview on Twitter there's a level where you go into a gigantic evil beehive. In that game.
Yeah.
And you fight a little bit in the beehive, and then there's a bee that you actually jump on, and it's the turbo tunnel. Like from Battletoads. But you're riding a bee.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And like the bee enemies are pretty creative.
Yeah.
So it's not just, to be clear.
Yeah.
The Transylvanian Adventure of Simon Quest is not just like horror tropes. It's also like... actually, a B reference would be Power Blade.
So basically, it has a lot of other like references to games and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Okay.
But it's obviously somewhat inspired or a homage to that.
Okay.
But before he made that game, he made this game, Dumpy and Bumpy.
Okay.
Which is a multiplayer block puzzle game.
Okay.
And in Japan, block puzzle games kind of all have their lineage to a game called Sokoban. So as a franchise, they kind of call, or as a genre, they kind of call themselves Sokoban games. So the most famous one we got, and we don't really get them much anymore, but the one that we played before together was Lolo.
So my favorite block puzzle games, probably at the top of the list is Adventure Lolo.
Yeah. Which
there was, sequels on NES 2 and 3, but also like Kickle Cubicle.
Yeah.
I really like Kickle Cubicle a lot. And there's also Fire and Ice, which is one of the more rare,
more expensive
games,
yeah.
NES games that I own. And back then in that era of NES and Super Nintendo, Super Famicom and stuff, you'd find a lot of those type of block puzzle games, but not so much anymore.
No, and one of the things was when I first started talking to Programmancer, I was like, I'm looking for something unique, and your game is really unique, and it's one that I want to amplify the voice for and show it to more people because I search for block puzzle games. And I don't see them, at least not in the West.
It's unique at this point in time because most stuff now, you find a lot of Metroidvanias now. You'll find a lot of mostly like platformers and stuff now. But to find a block puzzle one is a little not as often. Sure.
So let's talk about the twist a little bit. So yes, Dumpy and Bumpy is a block puzzle game, but it has a few things more that make it kind of cool. The big thing is it's about Dumpy and Bumpy. So it has drop-in, drop-out multiplayer. So if you're playing the game, your friend comes over, you're like, hey, I'm playing Dumpy and Bumpy. Oh, here's a controller. They could jump right in and play as Bumpy.
Do it at the same time.
They could do it at the same time. And one of the things
So one person can be working on one part of the puzzle and the other person can be doing the other part.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which is a lot of fun. And the other thing is the gameplay modes kind of change. It's not like, Lolo is a great game. I'm not disparaging Lolo, but you go from situations where it's a block pushing puzzle to a block throwing puzzle to a puzzle where
like in Lolo, you're not throwing blocks.
Exactly.
Sure.
There's a lot of different modes. There's a whole world where it's golf. So,
oh, yeah.
So you have a charge shot, you have a bite, and then you also have a charge bite.
Yeah.
So if you do a charge bite, you can knock the ball.
Yeah, I thought
further.
The bite was interesting. It's like you bite. I played the game for a few minutes. You bite like the blocks, and that can like make them like explode into bombs, which explode into other bombs, and the whole level blows up and stuff.
Yeah. So there's bombs, there's push blocks, there's throw blocks, there's like the spike enemies, like the Zelda style, where you walk in front of them and they come at you.
Those are traps.
Yeah. There's the ghost lord. And the Ghost Lord kind of complicates things because when the ghost is on the level, you kind of need to avoid him because if you touch him, you'll die.
Okay.
So, and he's like the boss character of the game. The worlds are presented in a like the actual world icons look like Mario 3, but the worlds are presented in a Commander Keen type world map. Do you ever play Commander Keen?
Everybody wants me to play it. They're always telling me to play it on stream. I haven't gotten to it yet. Maybe by the time this comes out, I will. But
so in Commander Keen, you like walk around, like you can walk everywhere on the map, and then the levels are just like in specific spots. So it's like in this game, you're on World 1, and you can walk to the level and then go into it and do that.
Yeah, wasn't Commander Keen? Wasn't that big on Amiga?
Commander Keen, I played it on PC originally.
Or like PC or like Commodore 64 or
something. It's id Software.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
First id Software game I played it even before Doom.
Yeah.
It was out.
I didn't have Commander Keen back then.
Yeah. I actually got it. It came with the Gravis gamepad, which was like the first gamepad I ever saw that was for PC. Because PC was all about like the flight sticks and the stuff like that.
That's the stuff I remember, yeah.
But the Gravis gamepad was a 4-button controller.
Okay.
And it came with Commander Keen.
That's kind of cool.
So that's how I ended up playing it, which
yeah.
was cool. So you have different worlds that have about 8 levels. It's multiplayer. You could go from level to level to level.
Yeah.
Which and the levels have a theme, right? So like the first level is like kind of tutorial based, and there's a golf level, and then there's ones that's more the spike trap puzzles, and there's ones that are more like bombs and things like that. And it's a very challenging game.
Yeah.
I think that, I told Program Answer, I was like, these block puzzles are complicated.
Yeah.
It's hard to like constantly
Lolo can get complicated.
make good block puzzles, right? Like, and the hallmark of good game design is being able to take a limited set of tools and iterate and keep it fun. Mm-hmm. Right? So it's like, okay, you got a block, you got a bomb, you got a bite. Okay, how do I make 20 levels with that?
Using that.
And if you can make 20 levels with your game concept is good.
Yeah.
And that's what Dumpy and Bumpy is.
Yeah.
He took a very simple concept, a very classic concept that wasn't getting a lot of love, and turned it into a brand new game.
That's cool. I like seeing sort of a comeback of block puzzles because that is a genre that we don't see enough of, and it's a great type of game. I will say block puzzles and those type of games for me tend to be stuff that I like playing more so off stream than on stream, because there's nothing worse for the audience and there's nothing worse for the streamer than you're sitting there and you're trying to figure out the puzzle, and you might get to one that you get stuck.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there trying to like figure the thing out and I can't figure it out. And I eventually figure it out, but like I'm sitting there for 10 minutes and then the audience is like, and I'm like, do I move the block here? It's like, who wants to watch that?
It's not good television.
It's not good television,
right?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So did you see what's awesome about block puzzle games? The corollary to that is when you know how to do it,
you feel like a fucking pro.
You feel like a pro.
Yeah.
Like you saw when I was showing you like World 1, I'm like, boom, 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 boom.
So I can correlate that to Lolo because I played the first adventure of Lolo quite a bit. So for the most part now, when I play Lolo, not every level, but a lot of the game I can blow through. There's certain levels that I get still stuck. But like I know some things I'm like, oh, I know I got to push the log on the water here and the log goes around and then I go over and like I know how to do it. But the first time you play that game, you're like, I have no fucking idea what I'm supposed to do. Where do I put the bridge? Where do I do this? Where do I do that? So exactly what you're saying, it's a type of game where if you play through more than once, it's like that second playthrough, you're like, watch what I can do. You know?
And you feel like a badass, which is like the best thing for games.
Yeah.
So Screenwave Media, my company, is putting out or has put out, depending on when this episode comes out, Dumpy and Bumpy on Steam. It'll be our first game ever to come out on Epic Store. And
that's cool.
Nintendo Switch. So Steam, Epic Store,
cool.
Nintendo Switch.
Switch.
And this game is $5.
Okay.
It's $5. So it's definitely $5 worth of entertainment. I'd love to hear.
How many levels is it? Or stages?
You're
or
putting me on the
worlds
spot. So there's 8 worlds. There's 64 or something like that.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, but there's a lot.
Okay.
It's a big game.
Yeah. That's cool.
But it's good fun, and we're excited to see everybody play a game we put out that's not a platformer or a Metroidvania, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and he worked a lot on it. And if you want to do more, look at more Programmancer stuff, follow him on Twitter because he's constantly posting Simon Quest stuff.
So you're talking about Programmancer and how he's making that, the Castlevania thing, and it's sort of like Castlevania, but it's got other like elements to it too. I played a game called Steel Assault.
That's cool.
And that's the game I'm going to be bringing today to the show. So Steel Assault, it's like Contra.
Okay.
It's like Metal Slug. It's like Castlevania because you have a whip. And it's also like a little like Bionic Commando.
Oh, cool.
Because in this game you have a zipline.
Yeah.
Now the zipline is, I've seen other people talk about this game. That's the big mechanic that for the most part sets this game apart from all the other platformers out there. We're just talking about that. And that's why Dumpy and Bumpy is pretty cool, because it's like you're getting to play a block puzzle game. This is yet another like platforming game. And I think that is kind of getting to be a problem. It's like there's so much platforming stuff.
Yeah.
Which for me isn't a problem because I mean I can play platformers for the rest of my life.
Me too. Yeah.
But it is nice when another genre comes in, like a block puzzle game or like a tower defense game. I'd like to one day see Screenwave do a tower defense game. Just saying. But anyway, so Steel Assault. This is by the time you see this game will be probably out for like a month or something. It is very much like, like a Contra Metal Slug type of thing. But the first thing you're going to notice about the game is the graphics. And the game looks like the colors look very like saturated, like very sort of like almost overly vibrant. And to me, it makes it look kind of like a Game Boy Advance game.
Oh, cool.
And which isn't that's not necessarily like a bad thing or like a put down or anything like that, because I like Game Boy Advance. So to me, it looked kind of like a Game Boy Advance game as far as the graphics go. I think it had a pretty nice like art style to it. But so the zip line is the main mechanic of this. So as you're going through stages, you might have a platform above you. So to get to the platform above you, you can shoot the zip line up 90 degrees. Or one of the cool elements is that you can shoot the zip line at a 45-degree angle and sort of, go, like zigzag your way around, and then you sort of like climb the ropes across. So there are boss fights in this game where you might have the boss that's floating in the sky, and underneath it are like jet engines or whatever because it's like floating. You'll have to like drop to below the platform and sort of like make a zip line to sort of like get out of the way of the bosses and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of a neat idea. But the thing I found out is I thought it was like completely original to this game, but really I think the zip line thing actually comes from like earlier Contra games. For one thing, you might play like the Super Nintendo Contra, and there's lines that you can like climb on, but it's not like a zip line that your character's shooting out. But I think the Contra on DS has like the same zip line thing.
So Contra 4.
I think they're getting that from Contra 4.
Okay.
I believe they did that first. But regardless, you don't see a zip line in many games.
Right.
So it's kind of cool to see that again and something like this. Now, I played through the whole game. I played it through first on easy, and then I played it through again on normal, and then you can play it through on hard, and then you can go to like arcade mode and stuff. And this is a really short game. Like you can beat the entire game in like 25, 30 minutes, something like that. And I feel like some people might not like that because these days games are like big.
So I think one of the reasons that happened was I think this game was made by one person. And all the pixel art that went into it is insane.
Insanely like detailed and stuff. But I also think that might be on purpose, and I'm going to defend that a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, when I played through it the first time, I had to think about it a little bit. When I played it through it the first time, I was like, I wish there was like 3 more levels to this.
Oh, wow.
Like I wish it was like a lot. I wish it was a longer game. Instead of 30 minutes, I wish it took me an hour, because I played things like The Messenger and stuff, like where these games that go on and on and on.
Yeah.
And, this game doesn't have collectibles. It doesn't have secrets. Like, you just go and you just try to beat it. But then I realized what they're trying to do is they're trying to make this like an arcade game.
Yes.
Like you walked into the arcade, you pumped in your quarters, and it's supposed to be like that. And when you're playing a game where you walk into the arcade, you're not like searching for secrets. You're not playing the game for 9 hours trying to get through this big quest like a Metroidvania or something. Right. You're just having this short arcade experience, and I think that that's what they were doing here. And I hope that people understand that if they're like gonna go and play this game, because that's what it is.
Right, because if you go back into the Super Nintendo catalog or Genesis or whatever, or Game Boy Advance even, there are a lot of games where it's like, here's 5 good levels. These are the 5 good levels, 6 good levels, whatever. Get in, get out, and you can beat it in a single sitting, and it might not have a save or something. I'm sure this game does because it's new, but that was gaming for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So if you want to be true to that, you kind of have to go that way.
It has that sort of like old mentality to it, but yeah, like overall, I like the game. I like the controls. I pretty much liked most of the things about it. But you have to be the type of person that wants to. There's like the regular mode, like you can do easy, medium, hard, and then you can do arcade mode. Like you're gonna want to basically eventually, if you buy this game, that's where all the content is to go into like the arcade mode, play it on the hardest setting, and like keep playing it over and over and try to best your best kind of. And that's kind of what the game's about. So I hope that people with this game kind of understand that about it, because I've seen people talk about it and people were like, boy, this game's short. Boy, this was over quick. And I'm like, that's not exactly what they're going for here, though. So, I mean, that's about it.
Can you tell me about the guns or the physical attacks or what your character has?
So the character has a whip.
Yeah.
It's an electric whip, and you run through the stage, and you whip enemies. You have a double jump, and you have a slide, kind of like Contra Hardcore, where you can slide through enemies and you don't get hurt and that kind of thing. And what there is, though, and I couldn't quite figure it out at first. So there's like with the slide, there's like a little meter, and when you slide, that's the meter. But then there's a bigger meter to the side, which looks like a big like circle, half circle. And I didn't know what the fuck that was for like a while. I was like, what is this big meter? And I realized what it was. It's when you kill enemies, you get little, because your whip is like an electric whip. It's like, with Castlevania, you have the flame whip.
Right.
This is like an electric whip. But imagine if in Castlevania with the flame whip, if you gradually grab matches or something and your flame whip got more powerful.
Oh, okay.
So what this is you kill an enemy and you get a little electric pieces or something, batteries or whatever they are in the game, and you can make your whip more powerful. So like that.
One of the things I'm noticing more and more about shooters is shooters are meant for you to get good enough that you hold your power up through the level, because if you really want to beat the bosses quickly and get through, you need to have the power.
I would say get the power. Yeah. I would say that this is like that, but I don't know if I'd call this game necessarily a shooter because you don't really have a gun.
Right, but
you have a short range.
What I'm saying is like you want that power bar to be as high as possible. Like if you're trying to like get through this and like play well, you need to have that up there, or you're going to be hitting these enemies like a million times.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's really a combination between having a short range whip weapon, and you have there's areas and bosses where you have like a lot of projectiles coming at you, but like when the projectiles are coming at you, you can whip the projectiles and get them like out of the way. And then what you have to do is you have to get a lot of times to higher platforms or higher. You have to basically get around and avoid enemies by getting really good with that zip line. There was a fucking area where I'm like traveling upwards in this sort of vent thing, and there's these two like bug flying robot things that are kind of like dipping in and out.
Yeah.
And like if you're not good with that zip line, they're gonna knock you and you're gonna fall, and it doesn't kill you, but like you get hurt and you can like come back. But if you get hit enough, you will like die, and then you have to redo the whole stage. And it's I don't know, it's a pretty fun game. I think it might not be for everybody, but I think it was good enough to be for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna come back and like play it more.
Right.
But I think some people will.
Because the only reason you have to play it is to play it on harder difficulties. Like at this point, that's like what you have left to do.
If I wanted, I could come back and I could beat it on the hardest setting. I just don't know if I want to. But that's just me. But it is good. It's fun. I think some people will want to do that.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, everybody was talking about this game, so it's what I brought to the table this week. Honestly I don't have all that much to say about it. And I just wanted to bring it up.
And cool Seal Assault, published by Tribute, right?
Yes.
So Tribute is...
Oh, I got another thing to say that I almost forgot. Thanks for bringing that up. So when you start this game, the first thing that you see is a moon.
Yeah.
And a tall building. And then the camera zooms down really quick. And I was like, that's the intro to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Which I know the intro to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles very well.
Yes, you do.
And I realized, I thought, I was like, they're going to be making the upcoming Turtles game. And I was like, are they literally going to use that exact same thing? Like swap out the characters for the Turtles? Like, is that intro the Turtle intro?
Right.
Because it looks like that's what it is. Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, it was published by Tribute, not developed by Tribute. So, two different... So, like, it's the same company, but it's probably, like, separate.
I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
I saw the same name, and I know they're doing Turtles, so I don't know.
And we're definitely going to play that game.
Yes. I don't have a choice. The internet's going to force me to, whether I want to or not.
Yeah. By the way, we should totally put that Turtles thing you did on Odyssey so people could still check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was like a labor of...
Yeah, I mean, so... Yeah,
You're like, I'm good.
It's just like... I don't know. I thought it would be a cool thing because I don't know. Nobody had ever done something like that. Like, who else has spent like so much of a long time like animating something in Mario Paint? So that's why I did it, because I just thought like nobody would ever do something so stupid. Like, you have to understand, I thought it was stupid. Like, when I thought of the idea, I was like, oh my God, imagine somebody spending like months to animate something in Mario Paint. Like, what a waste of fucking time, you know? And I was like, I'll do it. Because I thought it was funny, you know?
No.
And then it came out and people seemed to like it and stuff. And then, the turtle people were like, fuck you. And I was like, yeah, you know what? They own it.
They own it.
It's fine.
It's just the way it is.
It's just the way it is.
I am so excited.
Yeah.
because I'm talking about a game that I love, and I'm like not kidding.
Now this game just came out this week, right?
Well, so I put in the background. I own 3 copies of this game. I own it on PC, I own it on Xbox, and I own it on PlayStation 4. And the reason why I own 3 is because I like this game so much. I was like, I want this on the floor at Too Many Games.
You know what's funny is that we're finally talking about this at this point in time.
Yeah.
When we were doing the other previous show,
we talked about it. We talked about doing it. We didn't do it.
We talked about doing it, but we didn't do it. And it definitely was something that people wanted us to do. And so this is how I get with stuff. Sometimes I get bothered by hype.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just because a game came out today, does that mean I have to fucking play it? So when the game came out, I was originally like just a little annoyed because like so every fucking tweet I got, every message was like, hey, play Streets of Rage 4.
You gonna play Streets of Rage 4?
Continually. Yeah. And thank you. I appreciate that people want me to play it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was just like, oh my God. So I was just like, you know what? I'll play it later. And it took me like a year or something to finally play it. And then when I finally did play it, I was like, oh, this game's great.
So you know what it took? You know what it took me to get me to play it?
Yeah.
And we didn't say it, but we're talking about Streets of Rage 4, which Streets of Rage 2 is my favorite Genesis game, not even close. I do like a lot of Genesis games, but I backed on Kickstarter this thing called the Aya Neo. And the Aya Neo, it's like a Steam Deck, right? But it has full Windows on it, and it has like an Xbox. It actually shows up in the device settings as
you know what I just thought of? Since you have that, and it has like Windows on it, can't you just like log into Steam on that and play Steam on that?
Yes.
So you're done.
Oh, well, as far as Steam Deck,
because you have it right now.
I have it. Oh, like yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's great. and it's powerful enough to run games like Cyberpunk on low settings. Like It's got 16 gig of RAM. It's got a 6-core processor. It's got 1 terabyte SSD. It's awesome.
Oh, hold up 1 second. Look at that fucking D-pad right there. That's an actual D-pad.
Look at the D-pad.
Now I haven't used it myself, but it's not buttons.
Yeah, do you want to hold it? You can hold it.
Can I hold it? Can I hold your?
You can do it.
Can I hold your D-pad?
My D-pad.
Your D.
Do it. There's the D.
It feels not bad. I have to actually play a game. But
in this game, you're doing a lot of like tap, like double tap type stuff.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I'm like, I want a game that I can play that uses the D-pad and uses all this stuff on this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to play Streets of Rage 4. And I use this. I backed it on Kickstarter.
That's really cool.
And I...
So is that like a limited edition thing?
So this is the Kickstarter edition.
Yeah.
Yeah, my name's actually on the box. You can cross it out if you don't want to see it. But it's on there. Yeah, so I got that. And I played Streets of Rage 4. I was able to record the footage.
That's crazy.
On it.
That it has like an out like
and
that.
It's like,
you would think it wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I recorded it on the freaking device.
Oh, you didn't have to out to the PC?
I didn't have to out to the PC. No, it has the power.
Oh, wow.
Where I captured the game footage on it like you were capturing it on a PC.
Wow.
Yeah. So I did that. I got like the retro arch on it. I was playing Mario 64. It's great. But
are we going to get to the point with computers where it's like it's kind of going to cap out and like everybody's going to have the same power computer?
We're already getting to the point. If you look at processors nowadays, like, oh, you go from like 486 to Pentium.
Yeah.
Eventually. It's crazy. You go from Pentium to Pentium 2. It's crazy. You go from Pentium 2 to Pentium 3. It's crazy. You go from Pentium 3 to Pentium 4. Starts slowing down. Then they start doing more cores. You got Core 2 Duo. It's faster.
Because I see on the news, they're like, you know, Elon Musk will be like, AI is going to take over the world and stuff. But at the same time, I see like other things people be like, everybody's going to have like the same level computer and computers. Because like with like, I'm not a tech guy, but like with micro like processors and stuff, so, like you can only go so small to like, you know, like quantum level.
So right now,
until it starts to break down.
Right now,
when the electrons move through reality.
When the electrons move. So right now, actually, the big problem with chips is we're getting to the point where the features are like atoms wide. Like it's insane to think of that. Like
how does that even
the features are so small. And everything's limited by heat
Is it that way like on, let's say, like a Switch?
Yeah.
So like, does Mario travel through atoms to be able to play on the screen for me?
Oh my God.
He's like Mario is like Ant-Man.
He's crawling. See, the way it works is in Japan, they take little Marios, every life you have, microscopic Marios, and they put them in the chip.
Are they real Marios?
They're real. Yeah. Real Marios.
And just clones. You know how he gets in there? Huh. Goes down the pipe.
Yeah. So there's like a little pipe in the factory, and they all go down.
Yeah.
And then once they're in there, every time one dies.
Is Luigi there too?
Luigi and Princess Peach, and they're all put in there. And when they go on the screen, they grow them.
Yeah.
Like with a magnifying lens, like exactly like that.
Right.
And then you play, and then when they die, they're dead. Yeah. And when you run out of Marios, it stops working.
Dead?
Mario. Anyway, no.
Yeah.
What the fuck, Mike? I'm trying to do a thing now. So the point is because of like thermal, like heat, and because of the size of the features, to make computers faster, eventually they're gonna have to go from silicon to some other element. And there's been a lot of talk about that, but it would cost so much money.
Adamantium.
Something like that. Holy shit. Dude, I really like Streets of Rage 4.
I'm sorry, you guys all know that I'm an asshole.
Yeah. So, it's gonna be huge. Like, when they finally go to something new, computers are gonna get way faster. There'd be like hundreds of gigahertz and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's like,
teraflops.
So many teraflops. You won't know what to do. So
can I tell you, I don't know what the fuck a teraflop is.
It's a trillion floating point operations per second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Per second.
That's flop.
That's how you flop it out.
Floating.
Every second.
Flop it out every second. A trillion times. That's a lot of flopping.
Bam, 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 bam.
Oh my God.
Smacking it on the table.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. So I really like this game.
Streets of Rage.
It's called Streets of Rage.
Yeah.
Streets of Rage 2 is one of my favorite games.
It's
I like
great.
it since I was a kid. My first Genesis.
I'm a big Streets of Rage 3 guy.
My first Genesis I ever got was the one that came with Streets of Rage.
Mm-hmm.
So like later, because I got Super Nintendo first, and then saved my money and got.
You're
the
nostalgic
Genesis.
for it.
I'm nostalgic for it. So when they're coming out with a new Streets of Rage, you're like, how are they gonna fuck it up?
Right.
That's what you say. They didn't fuck it up.
No, they didn't. I think it's a great
didn't
game.
Fuck it up.
Yeah.
It's a great game.
See, there's occasions where that happens.
Yeah.
Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Streets of Rage 4. See, everybody gets on me. They're like, oh, Mike only likes the old things. It's not true.
Yeah.
It's just the new things have to be done the right way is all.
Yeah.
You know?
They got the Mr. X Nightmare DLC, which added the policewoman. It added the big guy, Max.
Mm-hmm.
And it added Shiva.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really cool.
Shiva is who I like to use in Streets of Rage 3 because you can, I think, defeat him. He's like the first or second boss or something. Yeah. And then I just use him because he's like kind of overpowered.
Yeah.
You know? And yeah.
No, that's really cool. So it has, I guess it's probably the most spiritually the successor of Streets of Rage 2. In terms of, you got the dash attack, the tap, like the double tap attack. Some people have a dash, some people don't. You have the special attacks. You can do the special attacks in the air. You can combo. It has a rich throw system. Streets of Rage 4 really improved weapons. I find myself using weapons way more because there's a dedicated button to pick up and throw versus punch.
My takeaway from it, from playing it, is just it is one of the best games I've ever played that has like the hit detection is just like when you fucking punch something in that, it's like perfect. And it's super fucking fun.
Absolutely. And I mean, the other thing that
you get a fucking one of those pipes or the sword and just like the way it connects.
Yeah.
It like, I don't know, maybe it's the sound effect or what. Just the way they do it is just fucking great.
And the soundtrack's amazing. Like if I just took a CD player and put it here and started playing the tracks, music. You'd be like, Streets of Rage, number one, you know exactly what game it was from, and number two, it's really good.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it.
It had a real soundtrack.
Real soundtrack. It's hard. at the end.
I had a hard time beating the last boss.
It creeps up on you.
Yeah.
Now, they do allow you to have the assists where you can get more lives, more energy, more of the super specials, all of that. My first playthrough, I played all the way to the end with no assists. And on the last one, I popped the assists up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's a 2-phase boss fight at the end. First, you fight the girl.
Yeah, and then there's like a robot or something.
Yeah, so it's the brother and the sister, the Y. It's funny that Mr. X's kids are Y.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Like that's kind of basic. But so you fight Miss Y, and then she runs away, and then you go out, and her brother, who you fought in the last stage, you have to fight them both at the same time, and then when you get Mr. Y's bar down, then he comes up in the big mech.
Yeah, the mech, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like this white mech.
The mech is not hard. I didn't have a problem with the mech.
It's the characters before that.
It's the characters before that.
I had the same problem. You know what? Also, that stage, I remember leading up to it. There's like, I think I remember, there's like knights in shining armor, and you're trying to break those to get like the turkeys or whatever you're eating as you're going through it. But those areas get really fucking hard, and you gotta make it through that even to get to the boss.
So
it's tough.
I'm gonna give you a big tip on the shadow guys, because I came up with the perfect strategy for me to beat the shadow guys, the guys who throw the shurikens.
Okay.
They're the same model as the shield guys from earlier.
Okay.
So they will immediately, when they come out, they'll start throwing shurikens at you, and they have like infinite. They'll always do it. Now, you could do the normal jump kick, but if you do the normal jump kick, you can press down and punch while you're in the air, and you'll do the down punch.
Right.
Now, what's nice about the down punch is the down punch can then combo. So what I do is I jump over the shuriken, I do the down punch, but now I got them, so then I can do down punch, kick, and then special and combo them. So if I catch them, they're dead.
Yeah, you find out with the games that like there's certain ways to handle each of the enemies, and at a certain point the game gets hard enough to where you can't just mash anymore.
Yeah,
you kind of got to figure out, okay, I have to tackle this guy this way, and that's when you start getting like better at the game. I played this game mostly when I started. I was playing with Blaze, but then I was mostly playing with Cherry.
Yeah,
and I believe the name was, and she has a guitar move, and when she fucking like smashes the guitar, I was just like using that was so fun. Like I love that character. And there was also, I can't remember his name, but there was a guy who was like he had like a robotic arm.
Floyd.
I was using him a lot, and I found him to be very like powerful. He was good too.
The other thing that's cool in this game is in prior Streets of Rage games and a lot of these beat 'em up games, you have your regular attack and then you have an attack that's a special attack, but that special attack will diminish your life. In this game, it does diminish your life, but it adds green to your bar, to your health bar, like some green pops on the end.
Yeah.
Now, if you get hit, you lose all that life. But if you don't get hit, you can hit enemies to get the green back up.
Yeah.
And what's cool about that is if you do a special move, you can get all your life back, so you can keep doing special moves. So it's not like you lost out on that life.
It like rewards you for doing well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then if you're a badass, if you know what you're doing, you're not getting hit.
Yeah.
You're doing all the special moves and being crazy.
You're
and
kicking ass. Yeah.
Kicking ass. And it's really cool.
Yeah.
And like the last couple guys, like you need to balance the special move and the regular attack, because like if the guy runs across the screen, like I need to hit him now or he's gonna do a charge. Like the fight with Max, I think the worst fight in the game isn't actually the last boss. It's the fight where you fight Max.
Is that the one on the airplane? There's like you're in a cockpit.
It's the one before that.
Okay.
It's the boss of the stage before you fight Mr. Y in the airplane cockpit.
It's been a while since I played it. So,
yeah. That fight with Mr. Y in the cockpit is hard, but there's a way to cheese him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I figured it out. Like the first time I fought him, I died. The second time, I kind of figured out how to like cheese him.
Yeah.
And it was a lot easier.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I want to do mention just one thing that's a little more basic about this. Everybody probably knows this, but in this game, you know, you can unlock or I guess buy different characters, and you can either get like sort of the normal art style, or you can get the normal modern art style, or you can get like the retro look.
Yes.
Which will look sort of like the old Genesis games. And I found it surprising because all I wanted to do when I first started playing the game, I was like, I want to unlock the Genesis 8-bit, whatever, 16-bit looking characters. And then finally, when I started to do that, I realized I actually like the new art style better,
And I want to be clear, it's more than just the art style. They play like the old characters too.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
I was surprised because I saw that they replaced Skate with Cherry, and I was like, am I going to get my rollerblading?
I was waiting for Skate. I was like, where's Skate?
And he is. He's unlockable.
Oh,
as
is he?
one of the retro characters.
Oh, okay.
So you could get him.
I don't think I ever got him.
Yeah, but I mean, having a rollerblading character in 2021 is
I guess that's
what
true.
I want. Yeah.
Right.
But he's like way later in the unlocks. So, and the way you unlock things is you have a global score, and your global score is all the points that you've ever gotten.
That's how I was unlocking the characters.
Yeah, so you
I didn't buy any.
Unlock the characters that way. So
you bought a couple. What are the
So
the ones you
I
buy?
bought the Mr. X Nightmare. This is the new anniversary edition.
This?
Yeah, which that came out like in late September. This one right here.
Okay.
And that comes with everything.
Okay.
So that's like the complete.
I like that you actually have like the physical. I just downloaded it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I figured if you like a game and there is a physical,
You should get it.
you might want to get it so that if something happens.
You know what? I got a good example for that.
Yeah.
You and I, a long time ago, we did a video of Transformers Devastation.
Yes.
And I have a physical for that, and that came off of the stores to download, but I still had the physical. So there was a point in time when I streamed that game. I don't know what is now, but like you have to like buy a physical of that now, I think, to play that game.
Same thing. Earthworm Jim. By the way, if you want to see anything that's ever been on Steam, go to steamdb.info. And you could search, and it's like the global database of things that are popular or unpopular. You can see it.
Okay.
On steamdb.info. Earthworm Jim 1 is not available on the store anymore, but it was. Because I saw it on there, because I was looking up Earthworm Jim.
It'd be interesting to go through the whole list of games that are no longer.
Yo, that'd be a good topic. Yeah. I should do some research and show some stuff that's not on Steam anymore.
Steam.
But a lot of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. Remember that movie?
I also have a physical of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is not available anymore.
That was that platinum one, right?
Yeah. It's
that one
off the store.
Good.
I think that those licenses, like they had like a limited license and then it had to come down. That sucks.
Yeah.
I want to be able to play
that game's
stuff.
fucking great too. I don't know. I still think it is that Transformers Devastation. The Turtles one wasn't.
I should buy that on PS4 before it's like not available.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, I think Streets of Rage 4 is excellent, and I'd be down for a Streets of Rage 5 if they I don't know what you could do with the next in the chapter.
Please don't. Like, I'm like,
please
this
don't.
is so good.
Oh, like
I love
if
it.
They ruin it.
Like, it'd be fine if they put out Streets of Rage 5 like they should. This game is over 1 million seller on Steam alone, which is insane. I didn't know that many people cared about Streets of Rage that much.
That's what I was surprised when that happened.
Yeah.
When they first announced, they're like, we're going to do Streets of Rage 4, and it was like such a big deal like on social media. I was surprised that so many years later, because But between like 3 and 4, it had been such a long time. I was really surprised that fan base was still there and that strong on it. And I think that's great.
Yeah, man, it is like the golden age for beat 'em ups, and that's why I was like, I love to make a beat 'em up, but now I'm like kind of backing away from it because I'm like, okay, we had Double Dragon 5,
Neon.
No. So there's Neon, but now there's like Double Dragon 5, I think.
Well, Double Dragon... Oh.
4 or 5. It might be called Double Dragon 4.
Well, the Super Nintendo
So there was a new Double Dragon that was Steam and all. There was River City Ransom Underground, River City Girls, this, Streets of Rage 4, Scott Pilgrim. There's been so many amazing
where they
beat 'em ups.
re-released Scott
Now
Pilgrim.
we're having the Turtles the Turtles game. There's so many options for this type of gameplay. I'm like, man, there's just so much good stuff. It's like, do I need to work on
You know
one
what
of
was
these?
funny with the Turtles thing is I made a tweet and I was like, you know what would be cool is like if they did another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle like Turtles in Time now, but added more characters and stuff like that. And it was like 2 days later or something, or like the next day, and they were like, boom,
and
everybody was like tweeting it at me. I was like, whoa, that was like crazy. Like,
that's amazing.
And April O'Neil's gonna be in that game.
Yeah.
And my one thing, before the game comes out with it is, I was thinking about it and I was like, so you watch the trailer and she's like doing flying jump kicks and stuff. She's like a news reporter.
Well, in the more modern stuff, which I know this is based on the retro, she was a news reporter and she was kidnapped and stuff. In the new one, she's way more part of the team.
Like kicking ass.
And she kicks ass.
See, I'm not used to that. I'm used to her being the one to
Yeah.
get saved and stuff like that. But at the same time, you know what I was thinking about and why I felt like I was okay with it is she hangs out with the Ninja Turtles.
You think she picks something up?
You know what she does? A lot of times the Turtles go out and they go fight Shredder and shit. And then you know what happens? She's hanging out with Master Splinter back at the lair. If you're hanging around with Master Splinter, you don't think you're going to pick up like some fucking, like how to jump kick?
It's like, yo, Master Splinter, can you show me some moves?
What are you doing in the turtle lair with Master Splinter?
Right.
He's going to be like, well, we got some time to kill. You want to go? Like, that's what he does. He's Master Splinter.
I like this storyline. Yeah. Somebody should write you know what? My favorite comics are the ones where somebody writes a comic that's like a side story.
Yeah.
Like they're out, like the X-Men are out doing whatever, and then it's like, oh, well, now Kitty Pryde becomes it
wouldn't have to be like a whole comic, but just like a one issue thing.
No, like a
One
issue. One issue. She's like, oh, well, maybe you could do this.
It starts out and like he's like, you got to go kill Shredder or whatever, and then they go.
Yeah.
And the rest of the issue is them just hanging out, and he teaches her some awesome shit.
Wouldn't that be a good comic?
I feel like it would.
That'd be great.
And if that existed, then it would give more purpose for this game, I guess. I don't know.
Right. No, but it's cool. You have all the characters. It's good fun. This game is like amazing. Not only that, but there's also like little retro things you can unlock in it where you can fight like a fight from an earlier game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
Which is really cool. Yeah. I did the one where you fight, his name's not a Bobo, but it's like a Bobo.
Okay.
Right? I got that one. I want to go back and do some more of those. But the little retro ones you do are pretty
in
freaking
Streets
cool.
of Rage, you're fighting a Bobo.
It's his name's not a Bobo.
Okay.
But he's like a big guy.
Okay.
In the ring. You know in Streets of Rage 2?
Yeah.
No, you fight the guy in the ring.
Sure.
Who he like runs at you.
Yeah.
That was the fight I fought.
Yeah.
And it I think it has something to do with the arcade machines. You know, there's like the bare knuckle arcade machines that are in the levels. I need to do more of those because it's very much like Doom. You know, in the 2016 Doom, you can go into like the retro areas.
Yeah.
It's like that.
You know what I have a hard time with is the fighting that you do in a ring. I think the guy has a sword or something, but in fucking Final
Fight, I was just thinking about that. He like bends, he like goes down like that.
Dude, that part I suck at Final Fight.
Yeah.
I have a hard time with that part.
Yeah, I gotta watch somebody good do that.
Yeah.
Because I have the same problem with that, with the dude with the swords. I think like when you hit him, he drops swords. And I think you probably have to throw the swords at him. Because you know, like if you like do a combo on him and he falls over, he drops swords.
Yeah. No, I know. And I would get the sword and then like you try to hit him with it, but sometimes it doesn't work.
He just hits you.
He hits you anyway.
It's like very frame.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's one of those things where it's just like you got to be like frame perfect and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
I don't know. This game's awesome though. You should play it. Like I just like my review of this game is this game's awesome. Get Streets of Rage 4.
Yeah, we both recommend it, and Steel Assault. I mostly recommend it if you're the type of person that likes arcade stuff.
Yo, check this out. 2 online players, up to 4 locally.
That's cool.
That's cool. That's what it says.
Local co-op.
20 playable characters, including 12 in pixel art. So there's 12 of the original characters from this. Beautiful hand-drawn graphics. Can't argue with that. 12 stages. And it's got boss rush. It's got the DLC.
There's so much content in that like I streamed that for many hours. and I could do many more streams of it, and
Yeah.
just to unlock all the characters and get all the points.
Yeah.
Or do all the DLC stuff, the challenge. It's just like that's all. And you know what? Something about this is like, this is such a big game. It's such a good game. I feel like it must be hard for indie developers to, compete with something like this. Why? Like, it's like, why would you play something when you could be playing this? That's a tough thing.
Yeah, I remember
if you're one guy making a game and then you see this shit and you're like, fuck.
By the way, you want to play an indie game that holds up to this?
Yeah.
It's a game called Fight and Rage.
Okay.
Fight and Rage is a game made by like one guy or a small team, but it's crazy because I
thought you were gonna say Eagle Island.
We already did Dumpy and Bumpy, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to try my luck. So, Fight and Rage is a game where your actions affect the paths you take. It's a beat 'em up, but when you go, like at the very beginning of the game, it's like go right, you're doing this. You can go left. You go left, and it's a totally different game. Like, there's totally different levels that way.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I like when you can do that.
Yeah. So you're playing, a small team, small developer game. Fight and Rage holds up.
Okay.
It's got a more like QT animated style, but it was done by a smaller.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of indie games that are great and hold up.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying.
But this rocks.
Yeah.
So do that.
Yeah. They've already all played Streets of Rage 4. They know.
They know. Yeah.
But if you haven't, play it.
It's new to me, so it's the way it is. Yeah. So that is Talk About Games. Make sure to like and subscribe.
We'll be back next time with 2 more games, and be sure to listen to this show on whatever podcast form you listen to, Spotify or whatnot.